Yo, what up? It's your boy Amir. Welcome back to the channel for another episode of That's Dope. I feel like everything I've been cooking up as of late has been kind of hard, or a little bit more aggressive. I feel like in the music, especially if you go back to the last couple episodes, like all of those beats are hard, but I want to bring it back a little bit. I want to cook up something that's a little bit more light, something that's a little bit more summertimey-ish, I guess you could say. I just made that up, summertimey-ish. I like that though. So let's cook up something that's a little summertimey-ish. All right, let's get right into it. All right, so the first sound we got is called Homemade EP. This is out of Expand. It sounds like this. All right, so that's what we're going to be playing. Let's go ahead and let's add that. All right, so the next sound we got, we're going back to Expand. This sound is called the Alps. It sounds like this. All right, I always like these kind of sounds. We're going to be playing notes, but I always talk about just adding sounds for texture. Sometimes you can have sounds that that you can play melodies with, but they're more for texture more than anything. Let's go ahead and let's add this though. All right, so up next we're going to Contact. We're going to Excel. I've used Excel. If you watch some of my other videos, I know you've seen me use Excel before. It's just something about vocal effects that I like. And Excel has a bunch of different like little odd stuff that, you don't know what they're saying or what they're doing, but it's something about that texture, and they come like with delays and with reverb on them, so they just kind of fit in the mix a certain way. But we're going to be playing this one. Pretty dope. Let's go ahead and let's add that. All right, so up next, we're going to add an 808. We're going back to Expand. I've done a video on how to create your own 808 in Expand. If you haven't yet, you should definitely check out that video. But when it comes to 808s, you don't need all of these kits and different plugins that I be seeing sometimes with people selling like 808 VSTs and stuff. You don't need that, man. I'm telling you guys, you don't need that. You can create your own 808. Add some distortion, add some saturation, some EQ to it, get it to sound like any 808 you pretty much hear. For the most part, you might want to add a kick on top of it. It's so many things you can do without having to buy additional things. Like, I am the king of stock. I preach stock because most of your DAWs, especially Pro Tools, they come with everything that you need. You think you need all of those other things, but I promise you don't. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's add this 808. All right, so now we got this sound that's called Creeping Man. This is from the Arturia V collection. This synth is called Modular V. The sound sounds like this. And we're gonna add this like right where the there's like a pre-chorus before the chorus comes in. So we're gonna start that sound right there. So let's go ahead and add that. All right, so up next we got the sound. This is from actually a Waves instrument plugin. This is called Codex. This sound is called Comet. It's like a sound effect more than anything. It's like this. And we're just going to be using this as a transition. So let's go and let's add this. All right, so we pretty much got the foundation set. Let's go ahead and start working on the drums. All right, so up next I got this loop that I imported into Pro Tools. It sounds like this, and I don't know where this loop comes from. I know this is a New Orleans sample. It's like a New Orleans sample, but I'll play it for you. It's like this. Now I don't know where this comes from. I just I had it in a folder, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna filter it a little bit. So I filtered it with this with the SSL Waves SSL. This is like one of my go-to channel strips, but it sounds like this with the filter. And I always talk about the way I use EQ. A lot of people just use EQ for, you know, I always hear people, yes, move 3 dB here, you 6 dB here, all of that. I use EQ to put things in a space. Like if you compare what it sounded like without the EQ to what it sounded like with the filter, it just sounds like it's pushed back in the speakers, and it's gonna sit in the mix so much better. A lot of people, you know, if they was to see some of my EQ settings, they would think they were drastic, but to put things in a space, you're gonna have to do some drastic EQ changes. Like a sound like right next to my ear compared to a sound if it was in the booth, it would sound completely different. There would be certain EQ frequencies that I wouldn't hear. If I wanted something to sound like it was in that booth, I would have to do some drastic EQ moves to make it sound like that. And when I'm thinking about where I want things to sit, sometimes in the mix, sometimes I have to do some drastic EQ changes to get them to sit where they sound like they're coming from a certain place. So I'm gonna let you guys hear what it sounds like in the mix without it and then with it. So this is without the EQ. And this is with the EQ. So you see with the way it's EQ, it just sounds like it's sitting behind everything. So these are just some regular settings that I would pick just to push things back in the mix. But so yeah, when you EQing your sounds, think about where does it sound like the sound is coming from. That's how I like the EQ. Where does it sound like it's close to me? Does it sound like it's sitting further back? Sometimes to bring a sound close, you're gonna have to do some crazy EQ. Sometimes to sit it back, you're gonna have to do some crazy EQing. But EQing can really change like where a sound sounds like it's coming from. All right, so we got that. Let's keep on building. All right, so up next we're going back to expand. We got a bass sound. This is called tight owl bass or tight owl bass, one of them. But it sounds like this. It sounds like a Moog. That's what it sounds like more than anything. But so we're gonna be adding a bass on this. So let's go ahead and add that. All right, so up next we're going back to expand. This is the drum kit. It's called R&B Addicted. We're just going to be using some of the percussion out of it. These. All right, so we're just going to use this right before the pre-chorus come in. Just kind of, you know, just add some percussion to kind of bring that part in. So let's go ahead and add that. All right, so I went in there and I added a reverse cymbal and I'm just using it as a transition, but let's go ahead, let's just give it one good listen from the top and see what we got. So the beat turned out way more summertime-ish than I anticipated. You know, certain beats, man, they just have that feel-good energy. They just got that bounce. This beat has that bounce I love it. I love the way it turned out. But as always, I want to know, what did you guys think about the beat? Drop a comment below. Let me know. Also, don't forget to hit that thumbs up for me if you enjoyed this. If you hated it, hit that thumbs down twice. All right, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Arrivederci.